Okay, and lastly, we're gonna calculate what the distance should be between the electrodes in the frontal coronal plane, or I'm sorry, the frontal transverse plane, and the parietal transverse plane. Okay, now it's the same as the parasagittals. Okay, so basically what you do is you have to calculate the distance between, or you have to figure out the distance between F8, running your measuring tape through these electrodes in the frontal transverse plane to, I'm sorry, from F7 to F8. Okay, so you have to calculate that distance between F7 and F8. Okay, through the left transverse plane and through the right transverse plane. Now, when we mark the left frontal the frontal transverse plane, we do it a half at a time. We do the left first, and then we do the right second, or the afterwards when we turn the head to the right. So you have to calculate the distance between each electrode. You have to add the distance that you got from F7 to FZ, and the distance you got from FC to F8. Now, I remember that when I was measuring this, the distance was 10.5 centimeters on either side. So from, I don't know if you remember, but from F7 to FC, it was 10.5 centimeters. And then from FC to F8, it was 10.5 centimeters. But I can recheck that. So let me just recheck that. And here, now, I have about 10. So I have about 10 centimeters from F7 to FC. And let's go on the right side and check that. On the right frontal transverse plane. And here I have about 10.25 now, or 10.5. So if you add 10 and 10.5, that's 20.5 centimeters, okay, from F7 to F8. So that's 20.5 centimeters. So now you have to divide that into quarters, okay? Divide that into quarters. So that would be about 5.1 centimeters or so. 5.1 centimeters or so between each electrode, okay, in the frontal transverse plane, okay? So if we measure from F7 to F3, we get 4.9, okay? So that's around 25% of the F7 to F8 distance. Okay, from F3 to FC, it should be about 5.1 centimeters. And so let's see what that is. That's about 4.9 centimeters, okay? Or 25%. Well, it's supposed to be 25% of the F7 to F8 distance. Just a little short, but that's, again, we're allowed a little bit of air rate, okay? From FC to F4 should be about 5.1 centimeters, and that is about 5 centimeters, okay? Again, that should be about 25% of the F7 to F8 distance between FC and F4. And lastly, in that plane, between F4 and F8, it should be about 5.1 centimeters. And here it's about 5.3 centimeters, okay? Okay, and again, that's from here to here, it should be 25% of the F7 to F8 distance. Okay, so if you add those up, 25%, 25 is 50 on the left, and 25 and 25 on the right is 50. Okay, so that's how you do the frontal transverse plane. And you do exactly the same on the parietal transverse plane, okay? You find the distance between, or you calculate the distance between T5 going through P3 up to PZ on the left. And you calculate the distance between PZ and T6 on the right going through the P4 electrode. You add them together, and that's your total distance. Okay, so I think let's go ahead and do these again. Okay, I have 10 on this side from T5 through P3 to PZ is 10 centimeters. And let's see what it is on the right side, the right transverse parietal, or right parietal transverse plane. From PZ to T6, going through the P4 electrode. That is about 10.5. So again, I got about 20.5 from T5 to T6 in the parietal transverse plane. It's about 20.5 centimeters distance. So you want to divide those into quarters, and so that would again be about 5.1 centimeters distance between each electrode in that plane. Okay, so let's see what we get here. So from T5 to P3, it is about 5.15 centimeters. Okay, so that's is almost exactly right. Okay, or that's 25% of the distance. From P3, to PZ is about 5.05 centimeters, or about 25% of the F7 to F8 distance. Okay, from PZ to P4, let's see what that measurement is. That is about 5.15 centimeters. That's almost exactly right. Or about 25% of the F7 to F8 distance. And then lastly, from P4 to T6, that distance is 5.2 centimeters, okay? Or about 25% of the the T5 to T6 distance, okay? So there you have it. That's how you should calculate your distances between each electrode. I will be doing a video and showing you on the sheet how to do, on the measurement sheet, which is how I'll evaluate your measurements this semester. I'll show you how to do all this. Okay, so just look for the video in Canvas.